All right, let's dive in. Today we are going to unlock a skill that will literally change how you see the world. We're going to learn how to read like a detective. It's all about seeing the story behind the story.
So think about it. That last article you scrolled past, that social media post you saw, maybe even a chapter in your textbook. You read the words on the page, sure, but did you get the full picture, or did you just get the one the author wanted you to see?
Because here's the secret. Every single piece of writing has a story happening behind the words. There's so much going on just beneath the surface, and our mission today is to learn how to see it. So, how do we do that? Well, we're going to use this really powerful mental model, a whole new way of looking at a text. Let's call it the author's lens.
I want you to imagine this. Every single person who writes, a journalist, a novelist, you name it, is wearing a unique pair of glasses. And these glasses, they color and focus everything they look at, which means they color and focus everything they write about.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Think of it like a prescription for those glasses. An author's personal history, where they grew up, their culture, their expertise, all of those things grind the lenses. So, one author's glasses might magnify economic details, while another's brings social justice issues into super sharp focus.
And that, right there, is our job. As critical readers, as detectives, our mission is to analyze the text, to figure out the prescription on those glasses. What are they zooming in on? And maybe even more importantly, what does their lens make it hard for them to see?
So our first tool in the detective kit is perspective. Now, this isn't just an opinion, like saying, I like social media. Nope, it's the entire worldview that leads to that opinion. It's the lens itself.
Okay, next up, we've got purpose. Why did the author even bother to write this thing? And we've got to be really specific here. To inform is just way too simple. Are they trying to warn you? To challenge something you believe? To get you to do something? The purpose is the destination they want to lead you to. Then, of course, there's tone. This is the author's attitude, the feeling they have about their subject. You can actually hear it in their word choices. Is their tone optimistic? Are they using words like revolutionized? Or is it more cautionary, maybe even clinical, with phrases like dopamine hits? The tone is kind of like the emotional soundtrack of the writing. And finally, bias. Now, I know a lot of people think bias is a bad word, but it's not really about lying. Bias is just the natural, totally unavoidable result of having a perspective in the first place. It affects what details an author puts in and what they leave out. Our job isn't to find writing with no bias, because that's impossible. Our job is to recognize it.
Okay, so theory's great and all, but let's put this lens to work. Let's get our hands dirty with our first case study. We're going to take a look at a short piece from the absolutely brilliant Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This little piece comes from her famous talk, The Danger of a Single Story. So as we read, I want you to start thinking, what kind of glasses is she wearing? What's her perspective? She writes about what it was like growing up, and what's so fascinating is that even though she'd never even been outside of Nigeria, all of her earliest stories were just filled with images from the Western books she was reading. White characters, snow, apples, stuff that was totally foreign to her actual life. And boom, this just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you see the world inside the book she was reading. On the right, her actual lived reality. Her perspective as a Nigerian child reading British and American books is what allowed her to see this gap so clearly. The dominant stories she was reading were missing all the details of her own world. So we can see how Adichie's perspective shaped her stories. But perspective doesn't just shape what an author sees, it shapes what they want to do. So let's look at how that lens focuses their purpose and how they turn that perspective into persuasion. Now check out this other excerpt from Adichie. You feel that? Notice the massive shift in tone? This isn't just reflective anymore, it's urgent. She's not just telling a story, she's making a powerful emotional claim.
This technique, this move she's making, is a classic rhetorical strategy called pathos. It's an appeal to emotion. Her purpose here isn't just to inform you, it's to make you feel the injustice she's describing. She's using an angry tone to achieve her purpose, which is to create this feeling of urgency for change.
But she doesn't just rely on emotion. Not at all. Look at this line from the same text. Here, she's building a super careful, reasoned argument about the words we use.
And that
That's logos, an appeal to logic. She's breaking down the rational flaw in using a general term when you're talking about a specific problem. So you see, she's using both pathos and logos, emotion and logic to achieve her persuasive purpose. Authors make these choices deliberately. All right, you've learned the concepts, you've seen them in action. Now it's your turn to be the detective. We're going to analyze two different expert takes on a topic we all know pretty well, social media.
Okay, just look at this. It's fascinating. We have two experts looking at the exact same thing, social media, and seeing completely different worlds. The tech journalist, whose whole world is about progress, is wearing innovation-focused glasses. They see social movements and use words like democratized. But the social psychologist, who's trained to see patterns in our behavior, is using a mental health lens. They see manipulation and use these clinical terms like dopamine hits. Now, here's the key. Neither one is necessarily wrong, but neither is telling the whole story.
And of course, just when you think you've got it figured out, expert views aren't the only ones out there. Here's a third perspective, this time from a teenager. Their lens isn't professional, it's personal. For them, it's not some tool to be analyzed, it's a space to be lived in. This perspective adds this really crucial layer of nuance that the experts might totally miss.
So, what does this all mean? It means that by learning to see the author's lens, you've essentially just gained a critical reading superpower. Seriously, you can now see the choices behind the words.
And here it is, your toolkit. 4 simple steps. First, you identify the lens. Who is this person? Second, figure out their purpose. Where are they trying to take me? Third, you analyze their choices. What tools are they using to get there? And finally, and this is the most important step of all, ask what's missing. What can't they see because of the glasses they're wearing?
So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you're armed with this new superpower, ready to see the story behind the story, what will you go out and read differently? What new discoveries are you going to make?